In our last episode, we discussed about HRD climate. HRD climate can be grouped as general climate, octapack culture, and HRD mechanisms. General climate talks about the psychological climate in the organizations which are conducive to the employee and which create an interest in developing himself and acquiring new knowledge and the helpful attitude of the staff. HRD mechanisms mean to include training, performance appraisal, feedback, potential appraisal, career planning, rewards and employee welfare. And the third aspect, HRD culture, defines the way employees complete tasks and interact with each other in the organization. The cultural paradigm comprises various beliefs, values, rituals and symbols that govern the operating style of the people within a company. It is the binding force that binds the workforce together and provides the direction for the company. HRD culture is that which promotes human potential development. It is also a culture that promotes the learning organization. Strong corporate cultures indicate that employees are like-minded and hold similar beliefs and ethical values. When these beliefs and ethical values align with business objectives, they can prove to be effective in building teams. The bonds that the teams build help them avoid conflicts and focus on task completion. Strong corporate cultures ease communication of roles and responsibilities to all individuals. Employees know what is expected of them, how management assesses their performance, and what forms of rewards are available. Peter Drucker once said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Your work culture can absolutely be a deal breaker or decisive factor when it comes to defining a company's success. Great company culture just don't happen on its own. It's more than mere fun and games. A great organizational culture is more than paychecks, fun and perks. Organization culture or HRD culture can be defined as cumulative, crystallized, shared life of people as reflected in the presence of some states of life over others. The most important aspect of organization culture are the values it practices. 8 values are examined to develop the profile of an organization or HRD culture, and that is called OCTAPACE. It is an acronym for openness, confrontation, trust, authenticity, proactivity, autonomy, collaboration and experimenting. Openness refers to the openness in the system, and this influences the design of HRD. Organizations can be classified in a continuum from completely open to completely closed. No organization may be on the two extremes of the continuum. However, they will tend to be towards one or the other end. The degree of openness of an organization will be an important factor in determining the nature in which the dimensions of HRD are designed. Confrontation is a term used in relation to putting a problem in the front rather than the back or trying to escape the problems. A better term would be confrontation exploration, which implies facing a problem and working jointly with other concerned to find a solution. If an organization encourages people to recognize a problem, bring it to the people concerned, explore them and search the possible ways of dealing it, it can really be successful for a long term. Trust is another dimension which is considered along with openness. If the level of trust is low, the various dimensions of HRD is likely to be under suspicion, and therefore the credibility of the system may go down. In such a case, the system, if introduced, may become a vital aspect and cease to perform the main functions for which it is meant. Authenticity is the value underlying trust. It is the willingness of a person to acknowledge the feelings he or she has and accept himself or herself as well as the other who relate to him or her as persons. Authenticity is reflected in the narrowest gap between the stated values and the actual behavior. This value is important for the development of a culture of mutuality in the organization. Proactiveness. It is a contrast term for reaction. Reaction is usually in response to an act from some source, but proactiveness is an action taken independently of the act from any other source. Proaction means anticipating issues in advance and taking advantage of the forthcoming situation. Autonomy is nothing but willingness to use power without fear and helping others do the same. It multiplies the power in the system and is the basis for collaboration. Collaboration involves working together during tough times. It can be said it is the best from each for the good of all. Culture makes a workplace more motivating and productive and get inspired. Let us see certain live examples from the corporate scenario about how organization culture has inspired the employees working in it. In Zappos, the complementing the right people with the right culture is the organization culture. When organization culture is a topic, Zappos always makes into the list. In Zappos, people who are existing in the organization just for paycheck are weeded out, and only who are committed are retained. This is what the company stands for. In Zappos, a culture fit interview, which carries half the weight of whether the candidate is hired or not, is conducted. All employees, whether they are in a senior position or not, have to go through the same 4-week call center training where 10 core values are instilled into each team member. After 1 week of training, the Zappos CEO gives an option to quit if the trainees think that it is not their cup of tea. After such rigorous screening, it's a wonder if the culture doesn't work like a magic. Care about the kind of people we acquire is more than money that goes into hiring them. If we locate the right talent, have the right culture to nurture them, the payback is more with their commitment and drive. Walt Disney is not just among the most recognizable brands of the world, they are also the kindest community on the planet. A brand which is almost synonymous with magic, Disney extends the magical experience even to its employees and the company culture. Unparalleled heritage, pride and culture, wonderful community, amazing growth opportunity, and a creative atmosphere sets Walt Disney apart. Disney only hires people who align with what their brand stands for. The organizational benefits of being a Disney employee includes access to Mickey's Retreat, an exclusive area accessible only to cast members and their families. Disney strives to make every place the happiest place to work and is compassionate towards each other. All the fancy furniture, designer juice bars, and parties don't really matter if people aren't nice to each other. People can tell when their company cares for them more than as an employee code. And that is how Disney takes a win-win stand as far as their employees are concerned in terms of their culture. Nike has an amazing work culture that its employees swear by. Nike's HRD culture or the organization culture is centered on creativity and innovation to provide products that are cutting edge and stays that way. The people one works with makes the job worthwhile. At Netflix, the measure of employees' efforts is not by the number of hours they work, but on the end product they deliver. In turn, employees love this sense of trust and flexibility. Netflix has no set schedules but offers unlimited vacation days to its employees. Its culture was set up and formulated in its early days of existence by Patty McCord with a 124-page slideshow known as Netflix Culture, Freedom and Responsibility. The company's culture has got its own share of naysayers, but the fact remains that people love working for them. People want to know where the company is going and they want to understand their role in it. This is where transparency comes into play. So, we may not afford to have a transparent salary calculator, but we don't want to be that dragon treasuring secrets. The earlier the culture is set, the better for the company. Culture is built, not bought. Like a brand personality, work culture reflects who runs the company and why. What works for one company did not work for everyone. Some organizations allow autonomy for their employees and assign them big problems to solve. A few other companies are popular for great pay and perks. Companies like Salesforce let their employees choose a non-profit organization they feel strongly about to volunteer at for 7 working days of the year. Organization culture is a set of shared values, beliefs, norms, artifacts, and patterns of behavior that are used as a frame of reference for the way one looks at, attempts to understand, and work within an organization. Organizations are subsets of larger socio-political cultures. Relationships between the larger socio-political culture and HR culture are referred to as cultural paradigms. They tie together the basic assumptions about humankind, nature, and activities. These assumptions are the building blocks or roots of an organizational or HRD culture. Artifacts are material and non-material objects and patterns that intentionally or unintentionally communicate information about organization's technology, belief, value, assumption, and way of doing things. It may include documents, physical layout, furnishing, pattern of dress, etc. Non-material facts include organizational stories, ceremonies, and leadership styles. In organizations, leadership style can be influenced by assumptions about gender and race. For example, if a male manager assumes that it is women's nature or role to give family issues priority over work issues, he might be less likely to promote women to higher levels of responsibility. This kind of belief has been prevalent in our society. Patterns of behavior help to reinforce an organization's assumptions, beliefs, and way of doing things. This is reinforced through staff meetings, training programs, filling forms, and other normal organizational practices. For example, if an organization initiates a sexual harassment policy by scheduling a mandatory training program for all employees, it is communicating a high level of importance and value to this responsibility. Conversely, an organization that fails to provide adequate training to curb incidences of violence or harassment, even to talk about reaching the goal, it communicates that it places the issue at a much lower level of importance. Thus, patterns of behavior help to reinforce important assumptions, beliefs, and values. Both artifacts and patterns of behavior play a vital role in the socialization process, whereby new members learn how to function in a group or organization. In the absence of a prescribed code of conduct, new members typically learn how to behave by observing the artifacts and patterns of behavior in an organization. The match between the people in the organization and the organization culture is very important. If an organization employs individuals who make similar assumptions about people and have similar values and beliefs, then there is greater likelihood that they will demonstrate loyalty and commitment to organizational goals. The organization culture gets hampered and tampered because of use of discrimination in the workplace. Discrimination can occur in various ways. For example, access discrimination occurs when an organization places limits on job availability through such things as restricting advertisement and recruitment, rejecting applicants, or offering lower starting salaries to certain type of people. Treatment discrimination occurs when a person is hired and after that it takes the form of limiting opportunities to that person in the form of training, promotion, rewards, etc., or harassment to individuals. As we have seen, corporate culture is rooted in organizations' goals, strategies, structure, and approaches to labor, customers, investors, and the greater community. There are n number of culture assessment instruments being developed by various universities in order to assess the organization culture. A popular instrument developed by University of Michigan business professors Robert Quinn and Kim Cameron focuses on four distinct types of company culture. The first one being clan culture. Clan cultures have a friendly collaborative culture and can be compared to a large family, that is a clan, where people have a lot in common. Strong bonds of loyalty, tradition and commonality generally form. Examples of such companies that have a clan culture include Google, Zappos, etc. Adhocracy culture. The root word here is ad hoc. Adhocracy is a dynamic and innovative environment where employees are willing to take chances and leaders are typically seen as inspirational innovators willing to challenge assumptions and take risks. Core values in this culture reflect change and agility. It's not a type of culture where employees are likely to hear this comment: "We tried that already, but it didn't work." Facebook and various tech companies that stayed nimble and innovative to remain competitive use this type of culture. Next, we have the market culture under this framework. A market culture is a culture in which the goal is to get down to the business, get the work done, and achieve results. This is often a competitive environment even among co-workers. The purpose of being at work in a company with this type of culture is to make as much profit as possible and capture as much market share as possible. Amazon is a great example of this type of company, and Jeff Bezos is known as being a demanding taskmaster. Apple under Steve Jobs' reign was another example. Hierarchy culture. Process and procedure are everything in the hierarchy culture. Leaders are there to monitor and facilitate adherence to tried and true ways of doing business. Businesses following this culture have come to this extent because of keeping their costs and mistakes at a lower point. Government organizations are good examples of this type of culture as safety is the primary concern. This framework, famously called as the competency framework, has 6 key dimensions of organization culture: dominant characteristics, organizational leadership, management of employees, organizational strategic emphasis, and criteria for judging success. Another organization culture inventory by Cook and Lafferty is an instrument designed to evaluate the culture of organizations in terms of behavioral norms and expectations related to the shared beliefs and values held by organizational members. The organization culture inventory measures what individuals and groups within a company regard as expected of them and will be reinforced and rewarded. It also allows organizational members to consider a culture that would be ideal for maximizing business performance and what types of behaviors would be expected of them in that ideal culture. Therefore, differences between current and ideal cultures of an organization can be measured in this framework. It takes into account the normative beliefs and shared behavioral expectations. Normative beliefs are defined as cognitions held by an individual regarding others' expectations for his behavior as a member of a particular group or organization. Shared behavioral expectations are those normative beliefs that are held in common by members of a group or organization. The 12 sets of normative beliefs and shared behavioral expectations identified by them are different cultural styles. They are humanistic encouraging. Members are expected to be supportive, constructive, and open to influence in their dealings with one another. Affiliative. Members are expected to be friendly, cooperative, and sensitive to the satisfaction of their work group. Approval. Members are expected to be friendly, cooperative, and sensitive to the satisfaction of their work group. They associated the norms and expectations and organized it into three general types of culture. They are constructive. Members are encouraged to interact with people and approach tasks in ways that will help them to meet their higher order satisfaction needs. Passive defensive. Members believe that they must interact with people in ways that will not threaten their own security. Aggressive defensive. Members are expected to approach tasks in forceful ways to protect their status and security. Another important contribution in the field of cultural assessment of organization is Hofstede's cultural dimensions. In a study of IBM employees in 64 countries, Hofstede determined 4 value dimensions along which countries varied: power distance, individualism versus collectivism, masculinity versus femininity, and uncertainty avoidance. Subsequent research on another 23 countries yielded a fifth dimension, Confucian dynamism. In both studies, countries were scored on a scale ranging from 0 to just over 100. Power distance measures how comfortable individuals in a culture are with inequality in the power structure. It also measures how much less powerful organizational members accept the unequal distribution of power in the system. In India, power distance was the highest scoring dimension, far above the global average. Individualism versus collectivism. Individualism versus collectivism measures group cohesiveness. A culture is individualistic if there is low cohesiveness between individuals. A culture is collectivist if there are tight bonds between individuals. In collectivist societies, people are integrated from birth into strong cohesive in-groups which provide a lifetime protection in exchange for unconditional loyalty. According to Hofstede's research, individualism was the highest dimension scored for US culture with 91, which more than tripled the global average of 24. India scored much lower, about 48 out of 100, indicating that fewer but closer ties existed between members of that society compared to a larger number of distant ties in US. Masculinity versus femininity measures how much assertiveness and competition are highly valued. In feminine cultures, values of caring and modesty are more highly valued. India and US have masculine values, meaning they have value assertiveness, competitiveness, and different roles for men and women. Uncertainty avoidance measures how much individuals feel threatened by uncertain situations. Countries with low uncertainty avoidance have a high tolerance for ambiguity and expect their members to feel comfortable in unstructured situations. Societies such as this have fewer rules. While US is known for being highly litigious, it ranked low on uncertainty avoidance. India's score was 52 out of 100. This leads us to conjecture that highly valuing disclosing human assets and non-financial metrics may require an increased comfort level with uncertainty. India, still less avoidant of uncertainty than the US, scores relatively high, similar to our argument regarding power distance. The author suspects that the high level of offshoring and outsourcing may lessen the impact of the wider culture's uncertainty avoidance upon organizations. Confucian dynamism or long-term orientation. Confucian dynamism measures long-term or short-term orientation. Encouraging an organization culture that focuses on long-term contributions of the organization seems more likely outside America. So let us now have a look into the implications for organization culture. Certain cultural values are conducive to organizational learning and growth. These values are low power distance, low masculinity, low uncertainty avoidance, and high long-term orientation. By impacting organizational symbols, jargon, stories, rituals, values, and practices, leaders can maximize learning and growth potential by decreasing power distance. They can encourage vertical and horizontal collaboration and communication that creates human-centered organization culture and thus improve efficiency and effectiveness. Though many view power as positional, senior managers give power to individuals upon whom they depend, effectively decreasing power distance. By disclosing their non-financial metrics, the organizations demonstrate their value of human assets. Decreasing uncertainty avoidance. By developing employees' critical thinking skills, managers can provide employees the opportunity to impose their own problem frames, thus increasing learning. In Infosys, the unconventional practice of re-exporting labor back to its origin is an example for this. Growth leaders have been found to adapt quickly to changing circumstances, which not only indicates low uncertainty avoidance but the ability to thrive in the midst of chaos. Decreasing masculinity. While competitiveness and assertiveness are valuable traits, in excess they can harm the organization. Encouraging win-win over zero-sum game thinking wherever appropriate is relevant. Companies that disclosed human assets viewed innovation as an abundant resource, not a scarce one. Increasing long-term orientation. By articulating a broader reason for organizational success, most of the companies embraced socially beneficial goals such as industrialization, modernization, and regional commitment. So these are the impact of the so many cultural framework developed by various authors, and this brings to the fore the idea that culture is not only required for a society but it has a long-term implication on the growth of organization and the effectiveness of organization. In the forthcoming episodes, we will learn certain techniques to improve the culture and make organizations a happier place to work. Thank you. Thank you.